All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on tonight's webinar. I know that many of you are anxious to learn more about this new programming opportunity offered by Kappa. As we go through various components of tonight's webinar, please feel free to ask questions in the questions box. I will leave time at the end to answer any and all questions and or to offer any clarification for those that need it. So let's go ahead and get started. At this point, I should have switched to a new screen. If you guys see agenda, please raise your hand. Awesome. Okay. On the screen, you'll see agenda for tonight's webinar. We're going to discuss what ASTP stands for, the concept behind the program, and the different programming requirements that you will want to be cognizant of as a chapter. Additionally, we will discuss what it means to be a pilot chapter, what chapter expectations are present, and what you can expect from the facilitator or facilitators that will be visiting your campus. Lastly, we will finish the webinar by discussing evaluations and assessment, as well as the follow-up that you're going to have after the visit. So what is ASTP and why did we choose to adopt this program? Well, ASTP stands for Alcohol Skills Training Program. We recognize that our chapters and members had an educational need when it came to alcohol consumption. Many chapters had asked why we didn't offer any alcohol programming, and therefore we researched some options that we thought would give you a different approach than what you're used to. There are a number of other Greek groups, specifically Panhellenic groups, that currently offer this program to their members, and they've received glowing reviews. After further investigation of the program, we thought it was just the right program for Kappa too. First off, the program recognizes that all of our members drink, regardless of age. It is a facilitator-led program, and the facilitator warns our members that if they drink under the age of 21, consequences could be associated, but we want to make sure we are offering the tools to reduce risk regardless. That brings me to my next point, risk reduction. This program is not intended to be an intervention-based program. This program is intended to be a prevention-based program. It helps you assess and reduce your risk in your current environment. It addresses high-risk drinking behaviors, but again, helps give the tools to minimize the high risk. For example, a member could say during this program that she drinks 2 bottles of wine per night. While some may think that's excessive or even be shocked by that, that's not really what this program is about. Instead of telling that member that drinking is bad and she needs to stop drinking for various and sundry reasons, we will help her teach the facts so that she can make an educated decision on her own to change her personal drinking behavior. At the end of the day, if that member leaves this program and decides that on her choice, because of the information she was given, she only wants to drink 1 bottle of wine that night, the program has done its job and we have successfully reduced risk in some capacity to not only her, but to the chapter and to the organization as a whole. Additionally, the program equips everyone with the knowledge that they need to drink smarter and keep you as a chapter member as well as your sisters more safe. Typically, when you begin college, you're asked to complete an Alcohol 101 course or something similar to that. This program does more than just address like standard drink size, BAC, blood alcohol level, all of those types of things. We would deem this to be more of like a 200 to 300 level alcohol course. Of all of our Panhellenic groups that currently offer this, they have polled all of the women that have received this program, and 100% of the participants have left the program learning something that they didn't know before attending. So that's definitely something that I really like about the program, is that everybody's learning something new. So what all does the program entail? The program is designed to be about 2 to 2.5 hours. It's going to be in person and it will be a facilitated program. Our facilitators have been hand selected for a variety of reasons. However, each facilitator has gone through extensive training to be certified to deliver the content within the program. We expect that all chapter members will be present for this program, so it is a mandatory program. However, because of the nature of the topic, we ask that there are no more than 100 chapter members present per presentation. Your facilitator or facilitators will let you know how many sessions they will offer of the presentation. Some of your chapters could have 2 facilitators, and each facilitator will deliver the program twice, whereas other chapters may only have to offer the program once, and they will only have 1 facilitator. This is truly dependent upon your chapter size. Your facilitators will help navigate any conversation that you may have about how many you need to have and how many offerings you need to have of this program and on what days they need to be offered, etc. A key point for you to note, advisors will not be present during this presentation. The program does consist of 7 components, each touching a different area and topic of alcohol, and it's designed to enable chapter members to let their guards down, to be interactive, and to leave judgment at the door. You may hear some shocking things during the program, and that's 100% totally okay. This is an opportunity for you to learn. Some of the content can be raw and edgy, and other pieces of the content you may have heard before. Just know that this is a new opportunity, so we ask that everyone be open to the idea of learning something new. Anything that's discussed during this room will stay in the room, which is part of the reason why we do ask that advisors not partake in this program. We want to make sure that women feel as though they're in a safe space, that they can discuss anything that they want in front of the room. This is not supposed to be a presentation where they feel as though they're going to be punished if they talk about their current behaviors when it comes to alcohol consumption. So last spring, I worked with Fraternity Council and the regional directors of chapters to compile a list of about 25 chapters that they felt could benefit from the program. We looked regionally based, we looked at past statistics, etc., and recommendations were made from your advisory board members, PDCs, chapter presidents themselves, all across the board. You were not selected to be a pilot chapter because you've done something wrong or are in trouble. You were also not selected because you're an at-risk chapter. We truly did the selection because we felt that your chapter members could benefit by having the tools readily available to them, and we all know knowledge is power. So please don't feel as though you have done anything wrong to receive a visit. This is actually a privilege. In the introductory email that I sent each chapter president and advisory board members, I listed whether or not you were selected to have received this program in the fall or the spring semester. This was completely intentional, so please pay attention to that piece. We want you to have this program after your primary recruitment period. It is important for new members to have this information, especially those that are first-time college students. Therefore, you will not have a visit before you take new members. If you are a chapter that is consistently partaking in the COB process, that's completely fine. Please schedule your visit for whenever works for your chapter, but be cognizant of the chapter calendar when you do schedule your visit, since it is a mandatory visit. Additionally, in the introductory email that I had sent, I listed who your facilitator or facilitators were. They are going to be visiting your chapter to deliver this program. So depending upon chapter size, you may have 2 facilitators. I'll tell you, if you have a chapter that's probably bigger than about 250, you were given 2 facilitators. The facilitator or facilitators will help you determine how many sessions of the program you will need to offer. She will only visit your chapter once, so the session should span over a maximum of 2 days. We do try and make sure that our facilitators can finish this in a weekend, or they could come in on a Thursday night, offer it Thursday evening, and then offer it on Friday evening, vice versa, something like that. But just please be cognizant of their time as well, because we don't want them to feel like they need to be there for a 3-day period of time, because it works best with your calendar. So please make sure that you're taking that into consideration about this program as well. So what about this program is beneficial? Well, if I haven't already sold you on the importance of the program, the biggest thing to remember is that this program is prevention-based. We hope that the information we're giving out to our members will help them make smarter choices because they're more informed about the decisions that they're making. They will know why they feel different when they drink beer versus liquor, or how many calories a certain shot has in it. Spoiler alert, for some flavored shot, we'll talk about this during the program, but if you are taking a flavored shot, i.e. like a lemon drop, each one of those shots has over 200 calories, not 2,000, sorry. Same thing for like a Long Island iced tea. Think of all of the shots that go into that. So one Long Island iced tea could end up being 1,000 calories. We're giving you that piece, those types of pieces of information throughout this program. They will also learn what warning signs they need to look for if they think a sister could be in a harmful situation, whether she's drinking too much or maybe her drink has had something put into it, etc. These are all great tools to have, so needless to say, this program will benefit each of you in some way, shape, or form. As I said previously, it truly is an honor to be selected as a pilot chapter. We have had chapters reach out to us since we've announced that this is a new program and have asked to bring this program to their campus, and we're not able to do that quite yet. You are truly the only ones receiving this program this year. So in the future, this program will move from a pilot model to a rotation model where every chapter is going to receive the program once per 3 years. But for right now, you are the lucky 25 that are going to get to see this new programming this academic year. So this is the important pieces, especially for you all to know. Chapter expectations. When you received your introductory letter, again, I included 3 different documents attached to that. It's very important that you read through those documents in their entirety. They explain exactly what you're expected to provide and what the facilitators will provide to your chapter. Many of you have had a Kappa trainer visit, so this is something that's very similar to a Kappa trainer visit, but it does have a few different components, so I want to make sure that you're very well aware of these pieces. The person that is responsible for coordinating the visit and making sure that the visit is scheduled is the risk management chairman. I know that may sound odd to you. You would think that the VPO is doing this. Council has asked that the risk management chairman do this because this really falls under risk management. By all means, please feel free to work with the VPO, but it's supposed to be the risk management chairman that's spearheading this project. She's going to help coordinate the dates with the facilitators, and she'll make sure that she checks the chapter calendar and consults with chapter council before securing a date, but that's going to be her responsibility. The facilitators are going to book their own travel if needed, but the risk chairman should also be aware of when the facilitator or facilitators are arriving and also when she departs so that you can arrange for transportation to and from the airport. If for some reason you cannot arrange for transportation, you will need to work that out with the facilitators before they arrive. Please do not let our facilitators land in the airport and you have not figured out who's going to go pick them up yet and they are stranded in an airport. If for some reason you're having a super hard time getting somebody to drive them to and from the airport, you can't get an advisory board member, a local alumni, etc., you can have her Uber, but that's going to be the responsibility of the chapter to pay for. She will submit her receipts to us, and I'm going to tell her no, she needs to ask for that money from you, or we will work with our chapter finance department to get that money from your chapter account. So please make sure that you're arranging travel to and from the airport. Next, you're going to need to rent a room on campus. There are additional requirements that participants need to bring to the presentation, and there are also things that you will need to have for the facilitator on your checklist. So please read through those carefully. She's going to need access to the internet, an LCD projector, and a computer at a minimum. Some of you may be wondering whether or not you can have this presentation in your chapter facility. That's 100% possible as long as it has enough space that you're able to offer the program so that people are comfortable for 2 to 2.5 hours and that you're in an environment where people are going to learn. Nothing on that checklist can be compromised. So if it is going to be compromised, you do need to try and find a space on campus, a classroom, a meeting space, etc., where you can get this presentation taken care of. Additionally, we ask that you contact the health center and ask for a referral list to all the resources that students have on campus for alcohol and drug abuse. Provide this list to the facilitator beforehand and have a few copies on you during the presentation should you need some. This isn't something that we will wave around, and if somebody seems as though they have a high-risk drinking situation, that we need to be offering them this. But you can offer it during the presentation. The facilitator is going to offer it during the presentation, and she's more than likely going to say after this presentation, if you feel as though you'd like to talk to somebody about your risky situations, we have resources available for you. We want to make sure that those resources are available, so please make sure that you have those for them. Depending upon the time of your presentation, you may want to have a snack or lunch or dinner or something like that. Totally up to the chapter to decide if they'd like to do, and this is 100% not required. The only thing that we will require is that if you're having a facilitator do this program back to back, that could be 5 to 6 hours that she's doing this program. You need to provide her something so that she feels as though she can get through both programs. It's an extensive program and it's a lot of heavy information, so we don't want her to feel bogged down. For those chapter members, even though you may be offering 1 or 2 or even 3 presentations of this program, it's just 2 to 2.5 hours per per group. So don't feel as though you need to provide food. It really is only 2 to 2.5 hours. So it's definitely not imperative. You are expected to lodge the facilitator. She can stay on campus in the chapter facility. She can stay in a hotel. She can stay with an alumna, whatever you choose to do. Some facilitators may go in and out in one day. So please ask if she plans to stay so that you are prepared. You will also be expected to feed her and provide her meals for the weekend as well. She can absolutely eat in the chapter facility on your meal schedules, but just keep that in mind, especially if you don't have a weekend service when it comes to food service. You'll need to make sure that you budgeted for that. Big thing to remember, you're going to be the hosts for the weekend. It's your responsibility to make sure that all the logistics have been planned and that everything is detailed according to plans. If you have any questions, please work with your facilitators. But again, your risk management chairman should be the person spearheading all of those logistics. Lastly, you will be asked to complete pre and post surveys. Please do these. We need to assess the program, and it's truly one of our only ways to assess the program. The facilitators are going to provide you information for how to complete the surveys, but we do ask that every chapter member complete the surveys. The facilitators will also schedule a follow-up call with chapter council about 6 weeks after the presentation. It really won't last any longer than about 30 minutes, but it's important to make sure that you complete this step as well. Your facilitators will help navigate the logistics of that phone call, especially if you're having a presentation at the very end of the semester. 6 weeks, you may have a new chapter council, etc. So the facilitators can help navigate that conversation. The last 3 pieces of this slide are very, very, very important. Attendance, like I said earlier, everyone in the chapter is expected to attend, and the program is mandatory. Your chapter must have 75% of members at this presentation. I'm going to repeat it again. Your chapter must have 75% of their chapter roster at this presentation. Your chapter roster will be taken directly from Key Reports. So if that's not updated, you'll want to make sure that you get that updated. If you do not have 75% of your chapter members present, you will be expected to pay the fraternity back for the cost of the program. If you do have 75% of the chapter members present, you will not have any other costs associated with this program other than the ones previously mentioned. Just to give you a good gauge on how much one of these programs will cost, dependent upon if we have 2 facilitators or 1 facilitator, if it's flying or driving, those types of things, you would need to be prepared to spend between $600 to $1,000 out of pocket should you not have 75% of your chapter members there. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So what happens if you need to cancel? If you cancel, you will be charged for all expenses incurred up to the point of cancellation. These are also in the documents that I sent you in the introductory email. You, in addition to those expenses, will be charged a $200 cancellation fee if you are unable to reschedule in the same semester. Please note, this program is not optional. If you have been assigned a presentation, you must reschedule the presentation. And if you need to move things around on your chapter calendar in order to accommodate that, you will. It is a requirement that this program is rescheduled should you need to cancel. Facilitator responsibilities. As I said previously, our facilitators are truly highly qualified to be presenting this material, and they've gone through extensive certification process, but they also have their expectations just like the chapter has its expectations. First and foremost, we expect that our facilitators come prepared to deliver the content. If for some reason you feel as though she's not prepared or after the presentation she wasn't prepared, please reach out to me and share that information. We do have a small pool of facilitators, and this is an opportunity for them to learn as well. So I would like to be able to provide them constructive feedback as well. So please make sure that you keep those lines of communication open with me. Regarding logistics, she or they will coordinate a date that works best with chapter council and her schedule. She will help determine how many times the presentation needs to be delivered, and she will also need to give herself a buffer if the program needs presented twice, i.e., she's not going to present the program from 12 to 12:30 or 12 to 2:30, and then do it again from 2:30 to 5. She's going to need at least an hour or more break in between those presentations. It won't surprise me if the facilitator is asked to do one the evening, like the day or the evening that they come in, and then one the next morning. It is a lot of content and it's not easy to present back to back. So please keep that in mind. She's going to coordinate all of her lodging and transportation with the risk management chairman. She'll provide her schedule, but the two of you will work together to finalize these details, i.e., when's a good time for her to fly in, where is she going to stay, does she need to bring anything specific, etc. Please note that if they're flying, you need to be providing their bedding for them if they are staying overnight. She's going to book her own flights with the fraternity travel agent, and then we'll let you know what her itinerary is after she's booked them. For those facilitators that are close enough within driving distance to your chapter, they're going to drive themselves, and then we'll just need to make sure that they have a place to park and potentially a place to stay, depending upon how long the drive is and how many presentations they have to present. Before the facilitator comes, she's going to do some research on your community, about your chapter, and also about the campus itself. She more than likely will be reaching out to your Greek advisor to talk more about campus culture. Very similar to how leadership consultants have meetings with your Greek advisors, they will more than likely have about a half-hour phone call with them as well. Don't be alarmed if they say anything, if your Greek advisor says something about how she talked with somebody from our headquarters, etc. It's nothing to be worried about. They just want to get a better gauge as to what chapter and campus culture is. She may also reach out to your advisors or even you as the chapter president and risk chairman just to learn more about the chapter, some typical behaviors of chapter members, or even some behaviors of campus. She will do her homework, so please eliminate any roadblocks that may present themselves that is keeping her from doing that homework. She does need this information to successfully present the program. So if she emails you and says, hey, I want to chat with you about the chapter, please respond to her and give her some time to do that. As we said before, this program is required and you must have 75% of your chapter present. It will be the responsibility of the facilitator, however, to submit the roll sheet back to fraternity headquarters. She may ask that the recording secretary help her in taking roll and then email that to her or even give her the hard document when they get there, but that's going to be up to the facilitator's discretion. Regardless, it will be her responsibility to make sure that that attendance sheet gets back to us. I would advise that you have a backup just in case, but please make sure that you give that to the facilitator. Lastly, she's going to coordinate a follow-up call with chapter council that's going to last about 30 minutes. Once all of these things have been completed, she will submit any expenses that she has, and then will also give me a follow-up report. If the follow-up report seems as though we need to have additional conversations, or they think that your chapter could benefit from another programming tool or something like that, we may have next steps, but those will be step 2, plan B type of things. So don't expect those right off the bat. Lastly, we're going to talk about assessment evaluation. Just like any new program and even our current existing programs, we like to make sure that our programs are working and that it's still beneficial to our members. You are truly an integral part of this. As this is the first year we're offering this program, we want your feedback. First and foremost, we're asking that everyone complete pre- and post surveys. This is a way for us to measure how much information you knew before the presentation and then what information you gained and therefore knew afterwards. It also helps us determine if there's a section within the presentation that we need to work on. Maybe something that didn't really hit the pieces that it needed to hit, or a section that wasn't as strong as the others, something that didn't seem to appeal to you as much. These surveys don't take a long time, but are truly important for us to evaluate and make sure that this program is still staying relevant. The follow-up call is also very essential. This is going to be a touchback opportunity for the facilitator to see if behaviors have changed within your chapter, and or if even progress has been made to prevent risk by chapter members, etc. It's okay if things haven't changed. We realize Rome wasn't built in a day and it's only a 6-week follow-up call, but it's important to assess information as we go along in various stages. So please note that those are going to be some things that are going to be happening pretty immediate. Like I said, this is the first time we're offering this program, so I'm sure that there are going to be kinks that we're going to need to work out along the way. Please offer feedback. I am very much so a person that would like to have constructive criticism and constructive feedback. So if you think that something isn't working well, let me know. If you think that maybe something can be done differently, or we could have changed the timing for your chapter, or you see an opportunity maybe for us to grow the program, have that conversation with me. You're the ones with the boots on the ground, and you're the ones that are doing this every single day. So we want to make sure that it's essential that you are a piece of the evaluation when it comes to the logistics of this program. Please make sure you're providing any information to me so that we can make the necessary changes and can help continue to see this program grow. So with that, that is all of the content that I had for tonight. Thank you so much for watching tonight's webinar. I hope you learned a little bit more about the program and even feel more prepared to bring this presentation to your chapter this year. At this point in time, if there are any questions, please go ahead and type them in the questions box, and I'm going to go ahead and answer them in the orders in which they were received. I see that there are some questions now, so I'm going to go ahead. I may be silent for a minute while I'm reading them, and then I will answer them in the orders they come in. One of the questions says, if we have a chapter room, can we have the program there? Yes, you can have the program in the chapter room as long as your chapter room meets the necessities for what the program needs. So Wi-Fi, as well as a projector and or anything else that's on that checklist. Okay. The other questions are very similar to that. I'm not seeing any other questions. Are there any other questions about the program? Please feel free to ask anything now, because I don't want you to get off the webinar and not think that you had all your questions answered. Okay, we have one coming in. First question, can we take breaks in the 2.5-hour program? Absolutely. You can definitely take breaks within the 2.5-hour program. We do it in 7 different components. So that will be up to the facilitator to really split that up. Components 1 through 3, I will tell you, are pretty fast. 4, 5, and 6 are the meat of the presentation, and 7 is really the closing and last final thoughts. So typically facilitators like to take a break between component 4 and 5, or between component 5 and 6, but that should be right around the 1.5-hour mark. Next question. So it can only be 100 people per session. Yes, it's supposed to be about 100 people per session. This can be give or take. If you have 120, we're not going to have you do the session twice. We're just going to have you do one, but you'll work through that facilitator. I've already divided it based upon our estimate of your new member class, as well as your current roster size of how many sessions are needed to be offered. You can talk with your facilitator about that. If she thinks that or if you think you need to have less or more, work with us. We can evaluate that as that goes through. So somebody just asked, what if we have a chapter of 112? We'll only offer that program once. My guess is there are probably going to be a couple people that can't come, and we wouldn't offer that twice. Additionally, with the breaks and the division of chapters, just so that you know, you can split that up however you want. If you have a chapter of 400 and you're going to have to present this program 3 or 4 times, you can do it by member class. You can do it by random. You can do by alphabet split. You can do a sign up. You can do whatever you want. That we're going to leave that up to the chapter to decide who goes at what session. But just keep that in mind that you can split it up, freshmen and sophomores, juniors and seniors. You can split it up as anybody over 21, anybody under 21. You can split it up by alphabet split, etc. I would advise that if you're going to do over 21 and under 21, that you don't do it, just because it doesn't give you that dynamic within the group that we're looking for. So just keep that in mind. If we have two facilitators, can they come on different weekends? No. They will be there at the same time. Reason being, we don't want half the chapter getting the presentation on one weekend and the other half getting the presentation 3 weekends later. We want you all to get the presentation at the same time. If it differs by 12 hours, okay, but we want to make sure that the facilitators are there at the same time. In addition to that, they will work with you. And my guess is if you have two facilitators, they'll probably say, okay, facilitator A is going to present in Bromley Hall, room 110 from 10 to 2 or from 10 to 12:30, and facilitator B is going to be in Bromley Hall 210 from 10 to 2:30. So those are 10 to 12:30. I don't know why I keep messing those up tonight. Sorry, guys. But those are it will be up to them, but we'll probably, if you're going to have two facilitators at the same time, they'll probably offer the session at the same time. So yes, they will be there on the same weekend. And then if you don't want them offering it at the same time, you will need to work with the facilitators. They know exactly what they need to do. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions as we're finishing. Feel free to continue to type them in. But if you do have questions that come up after the presentation or just as you're planning and doing logistics, etc., please feel free to reach out to me. All of my information is on the screen. My email is pretty simple, hstall@kkg.org. And my phone number for my office is right below. So please feel free to give me a call if you even want to chat through it, just because that's a quicker, easier way to get a hold of me. That's completely fine as well. I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you so much for joining, and I will talk to you all shortly.